Hey fun fans! We're giving away a Devastator 3 keyboard and mouse combo courtesy of Cooler Master on YouTube for this month of June. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to Fun's YouTube channel and leave a comment on which state or region you think will be the next to go to districts. You can enter once per upload and we'll pick a winner near the end of June.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Draw Robots. This is First Update's Now interview show where we get to take a step back, relax, and get rid of some of the stress while coloring and talking to some amazing people in the FRC community. I'm your host, Christina Tia, from Wordplay All Day, and FRC 125, The Neutrons. Our producer tonight and jack of all trades is Tyler Olds. And on today's episode, talking about the history of the Indiana Robotics Invitational, or fondly known as IRI, and amazing guy that does not need much of an introduction. It is the one and only Andy Baker, the owner of Andy Mark, a mentor of 3940 Cybertooth, and part of the IRI planning committee, and has been a first veteran longer than most of you viewers have been alive. So welcome, Andy, and thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on.
And I see that you are in your snazzy new facility there.
Yeah, we moved in here right after World Champs. So our move date, I think we closed down our website for about a week, starting May 18th. And we still have some things sitting out here, but you can see in the darkness over there and back behind me, we have a bunch of racks of stuff and FRC fields and scaffolding and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're getting settled in. Everybody has their desk in the right spot, I think, now, and we've been shipping orders for a couple weeks, and it's kind of thrilling to go through this big change. It's been quite stressful, but it's been great.
Well, it looks awesome. Looks like you guys are settling well. So tonight's drawing, for those of you who were able to print it out and color along with us tonight, includes a lot of amazing things that have happened at IRI or things that we love most about IRI. So we have some epic trick shots up in the right-hand corner, the backpacks that are donated by so many teams and so many other people that go out to the community, the Dean Simmons and the Kamen brothers, which we'll definitely have to talk more about later, the legendary Beast 71, and a banner for this year's winners. So we'll have to see who takes that home. So we're going to jump into tonight's topics. Andy, so can you talk to us a little bit about... Actually, before we get into that, because I just completely skipped over something. So if you plan on participating in the show after this, we're going to be doing the IRI live trivia at 10 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you pay attention because we're going to be hearing a lot of really cool historical facts about IRI from Andy himself. So pay close attention. And if you have questions tonight, be sure to add them in the chat and we'll be able to queue them up for later on after our awesome talking points. So before we talk specifics about IRI, Andy, can you tell us about when and how you got your start in FIRST?
Okay, I was in the right place at the right time. I graduated college with a mechanical engineering degree down in University of Evansville. Got a job here in Kokomo at then called Delco Electronics, later became Delphi. But I sat down at my desk in January of 1992, and the guy next to me was designing this really weird robot that drove around on corn, and he was leading a bunch of skilled trades guys that helped build it, some other engineers, and they had about 20 kids from Kokomo High School. So the guys next to me and the guys in my department were part of the first year of US FIRST back then. And then I didn't get involved with the Team 45 Technocats until 1998. So my first year in 98, I got on the team. I was the field coach, and I designed, along with, I led the design of the gripper on the team anyway. So, and we went on in Worlds, and we won the World Championships that year, and that was the last year of before Alliances started in 99.
We just had a trivia question about that, actually, just a moment ago.
Yeah. Yep. Did they get it right? Or
no, a lot of them did not.
So yeah, so 98, my first year, had a lot of success, and I guess Christine, if you don't mind, I'm going to go into how we started IRI, because it wasn't shortly after that, if that makes sense. Okay, so at World Championships in Epcot, I met a guy named Mike Bastoni, 98, and he says, first met him, we were at All-Star Hotel, and he just handed me a packet. He said, "Here's your invite to Rumble with the Rock." It's like, what are you talking about? What's Rumble with the Rock? He said, "Well, it's an invite-only FRC competition for the best teams." Like, oh, that's kind of cool. And we just won the World Championships, so yeah, we could go compete at this thing. Well, we couldn't get our stuff together to get out to Plymouth, Massachusetts that summer, so we came back and we did really well the following year. We got another invite to Rumble with the Rock in '99. So our team went out to Rumble with the Rock in '99. There were probably like 42, 43 teams there, and it was an invite-only event. And we thought that was fantastic. We think, well, this is great. It's such a great competition. Everybody's having a great time. It's a lot less pressure compared to a regional or the world champs. And it was something that we wanted to replicate back in Indiana. So I think IRI had a lot to do with my early beginnings of being a mentor on a team.
Mm-hmm. And so when you were when you were the mentor on the team and you met Mike Bastoni, were there any other kind of like off-season events out in Indiana or just like in general that you had heard of besides Rumble at the Rock? Or was this like the first time your team had, really heard about any off-season whatsoever?
Well, yeah, this was the first time we ever heard about it. And that was, okay, in '98, you had, okay, so get this. The control system that you had was on loan from First. You're supposed to send it back. Now you can keep it for a few months afterwards if you're going to do demos and such. But there was no, in '98 at least, there was no IFI. So '99 I think was the first year for IFI, and they made speed controllers that year, not the robot controller. So we actually reverse engineered our robot controller and we made our own because a lot of the mentors on the team were Delco Electronics mentors. They could do that stuff. So it was not easy, not only for the teams to do a Rumble with the Rock or an IRI or an off-season event, but for the event itself, you had to really develop your own scoring system, your own FMS. There's no Matt Pilot back at First headquarters supporting you to do your event. You were definitely on your own how you did this. So Rumble with the Rock was the first. I'm not sure about this, but I think River Rage and IRI both started in 2000. Someone might want to fact check me on that. But I think Dave Kelso and Andy Grady and all the guys that have run River Rage for many years, and there's many others too that are involved with that event. I think that was 2000, and IRI started the same year.
Crazy.
But there was nothing. There was nothing out east of Plymouth, really. Oh, yes. West of Plymouth, yeah.
Yeah, so my first year in First was '98 as well, and I remember, living in Connecticut after the entire season was over, like my whole family would head up to Plymouth, and I distinctly remember seeing like Chief Delphi and like Wild Sting being there, like having no concept geographically of like how much of a travel that was for the teams, like just being like, oh, those are like the really elite teams. That's so cool that they're here. But like now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, like that is an insane haul for them to take, like after an entire season. And I mean, I remember too, like people were camping in tents, like outside of the event. Like that was a normal thing for teams to do. Like, okay, why get a hotel when we can just camp outside in a tent? So things were a lot different back then, but it's cool to think that like that like interaction that you had with Mike Bastoni is what kind of sparked eventually what led to IRI. So IRI has been around since 2000, and I mean, this is the 18th year. And so for you personally and like the community of people that run the event, what have been some of the most like memorable things looking back? Because I mean, if you look at pictures of 2001, it's literally just like a plywood like driver station, and
yeah, it was.
And I mean, people are just as excited though if you watch the videos. Like it's just as intense. But looking at where it is now with like the incredible like AV support that you guys have through the the people that help out during the districts too, like it's pretty incredible to see where it started and where it is now. So like what have been some of the most memorable things for you and for others, and what have been some of the most like epic epic moments for you personally?
Sure. Well, I'll start with this. I always say this when I ever have a chance to, but IRI is great because of the teams who come. The teams who come make IRI, they compete at the top level, and they, at the same time, they have a good time, and they're really friendly at this event too. So there's a lot less pressure and such. But the teams that come make IRI great. Now, the first 2 years we had IRI, we called it Hoosier Havoc. This was Hoosier Havoc IRI, and we had it in Kokomo at Memorial Gym in downtown Kokomo. If that's where we had the Indiana State District Champs this year, was at Kokomo Memorial Gym. So the first year, I think we had 21 or 22 teams. It wasn't a very big event. Maybe the next year we had like maybe 29, 30 teams. But we knew it was growing. We had a lot of positive feedback from this. And at the same time, we had a core group of people on TechnoCats who ran the event. Also with Panther Tech 292 helped us out a lot here locally. That's our sister, our neighboring team here locally. And we agreed that it was too much for us to run here in Kokomo. And I don't regret this, but the teachers decided to say, they said, hey, we're teachers. We signed up we wanted to have our summers off. I don't want to work all summer on this off-season event called IRI. So I said, okay, let's find some other people that want to help run this event. Let's go down to Indy. So I was close with Chris Foltz and Scott Ritchie on 234. I asked them if they wanted to help us run it, and they said, sure, yeah, let's do this. And they said, but we don't have air conditioning at Perry Meridian High School in the south side of Indy, so we got to find a sucker. I mean, we got to find a place who wants to host this event. And you guys who come to IRI, you know this, but if you've never been here, Indiana has all these huge cathedral-looking gymnasiums for high school basketball because people are crazy about high school basketball here. So we went, and we actually toured Warren Central. We toured Pike, I think, and then we hooked up with what now is one of the schools that feed into Team 1024, the Kilobytes, and Lawrence North High School became the home of IRI. And they actually hosted IRI the summer before they started their rookie year team. So 1024 was a rookie the following year. They were a host before they even had a team. And so they became the third partner. Actually, they were the fourth partner back then. It was Team 45, 234, and then Team 393, Full Metal Jackets, were the third host partner, with 1024 eventually being the facility host. The reason why 393 was involved was because Scott Ritchie, the lead teacher on 234, his wife was a lead teacher on 393. Imagine that. Husband and wife running two separate teams. That was crazy. So to answer your question, one of my favorite things that happened at IRI was actually a tragedy that became a very good blessing. But Scott and Libby Ritchie had some pretty crappy things happen to them. They had an auto accident one year, and then right after that, they had their house burned down. So two really significant, terrible things happened to their family. Thank God they're fine now. But we decided as a community, hey, we're going to raise some money. We're going to raise some money for these two people that are outstanding. So we did a silent auction, and we did this, what you see now at a silent auction at IRI. We do that every year, and we pick different charities every year. But that year we did it to help them pay off this whatever stuff they had to pay off, and it was really cool to see the community come together to support the Ritchie family. And that was I think looking back at IRI, that's one of my top highlights of IRI. Mm-hmm. One thing while we were still here in Kokomo, I remember we ran the scoring system one year off of an Excel document. So we used Microsoft Excel as our match generator and scoring system. That was, I think, the first or second year. Jeff Birch did all that, and then in 2001, obviously 2001 was a really good year for Team Hammond 71. They won the World Championships with a very dominating robot that would push two of the goals up onto the ramp. And they had them both capped, and they would retreat back to the home zone. and the team that won IRI was 308, and they had the same concept of the robot, and they outperformed 71 at IRI that year, and that was a big surprise upset. But it was the same type of robot. 308 was kind of a dark horse coming in because they didn't have everything working quite right throughout the season, but they finally got it working right, and they did it better than 71 did, the World Championship, who won the World Championship that year. So that was really cool in 2001.
I feel like that's a really like unknown fact in, first history. Because I mean, if you think about it, back in 2001, you didn't have the unbag time, like you didn't have all this time in between events to kind of improve and iterate. So I'm sure for them, it was like getting that robot working at IRI must have been like the crowning moment of their season.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you didn't really have withholding back then either. You just kind of stopped, right? When build season ended, you were done. For the most part.
There was no auto mode. So auto mode wasn't until 2003. So there was really, I don't think, if you built two robots. So I think we built two robots in '99, and we did it again in 2001. But we didn't do it other years. We just didn't get it done. But if you built two robots, you had a lot of practice time. This was stick time, but not autonomous development time. So most teams, I'd say probably less than 5% of the teams built two robots back then.
It's also rare to attend more than one competition back then, too. Pretty much most teams went to one regional, and for you guys in Indiana, was Boilermaker around back then, or did you just go to Midwest?
No, Boilermaker started in 2005. We went to Midwest.
So Midwest,
we went to Great Lakes Regional, and then eventually West Michigan came on board. It was Great Lakes and Midwest were the two big boys, and you would see all the same usual suspects at those two events, and it was tough. It was really good teams. Now, when we went to, there was kind of an infamous moment when we went down to 2002 IRI. That was the year of Team Hammond, and this lovely robot right here was this flop over robot. And
Annie, this is my first memory with you, by the way. I just want to point out.
Okay, it was quite tragic, I think, this memory, but. We had a couple problems that year. So we had so much. These robots had so much force going on, and if you know about that robot from '71 with the walking beams on the bottom and the file cards, we had a lot of trouble with keeping the carpet just flat. They would bunch up the carpet. I think they got DQ'd or red carded or warned or something about bunching up the carpet at least once. I don't remember. Tyler probably remembers this more vividly than I do. But Tyler's team was 93. It was 111, Wild Stang, and 71 were against
201.
It was 201. I don't
remember the other 68. Was it Trucktown maybe?
Yeah, maybe 68. So Rob Jenkins was the driver on 201. I'll never forget that. Oh, maybe Rob Jenkins and Jeff Waglin. Those two guys.
Yeah, Waglin definitely was on the team then.
And you still see those two guys around sometimes. And then, so Tyler, what was your role in '93?
I was a human player. So actually, I was. I think in this match, I was actually throwing soccer balls, apparently very inaccurately.
So for I don't remember what happened in the final two matches of the finals. But I think we went to 3 matches in the finals. One alliance won one match. One alliance won the other match. So we went to a third match, and in the third match, Team Hammond puts their arms out, and their arm went outside the frame perimeter to grab 2 of the goals, and their middle mechanism grabbed the middle goals. 201 went right at one of their arms, and they had a spear-looking thing on the front. And within 5-10 seconds of the match, there was a blatant and there was an obvious entanglement between 71 and their long arm and 201 and their spear. So the entire match, these two were entangled. And there was no rule in the rule book that really could get us, all of us, out of this jam of replaying the match. I don't know if the right thing would be to replay the match, but so I felt anyway, I was the head ref. So as the head ref, I felt like one of the teams had to be penalized for causing this entanglement. Was it 201 or was it 71? And with other referees' input, I decided that the disqualification went on 71 because their arm went outside the frame perimeter, and the cord dangled down below their arm was the mechanism that caused the entanglement, not so much the spear that hit their arm outside of the frame perimeter. So when I made that ruling, we had a lot of boos from the stands. One prominent student who later became a mentor, I heard, threw a tool across the gym. She was quite frustrated about that. I had Sean Schuff and Brian Beatty and Raul Oliveira and all kinds of people. And Tyler probably threw a soccer ball at me.
Probably.
But, so is this video from that match?
Yeah, I was actually going to play the audio of you saying the qualification here. Let's take a listen.
Ah, lovely.
We won't be able to hear it, but everybody else will.
I've never seen this footage.
We just showed the whole match prior.
So that's me in the hard hat there. Yeah.
Let me know if you guys can hear this, by the way. I can't hear the audio, so in chat, let me know if you can hear it.
Look at me trying to explain this crap. Okay.
Oh, you might not be able to hear it. Okay, 1 second. Let's see if we can fix that here. No, we can't. So I'm going to go back here in a second and let you guys listen to this magical explanation.
It's been 16 years since I've lived this, and it's still kind of painful.
Was this the last time you were the referee?
No, I didn't get fired. I think I was. I recruited a couple of different people to be referees over the years, but no, I think my last head referee stint was 2009, 9 or 10.
But this is filmed by Corey McBride, by the way. Or at least posted.
I'm talking way too much.
We can't hear you.
Okay.
They tried to push this one out of the way. The cable was there as they were driving this way. They got tangled on their gripper for a minute.
Lost grip.
They shot there for a minute. They tried to get away.
He lost
They spun around and tried to get off the cable. The cable is contained. Hard structural members don't contain.
That's fine. So all the people that are watching this are hearing what I say?
Yes.
That's the call. No.
We can.
I did not realize my brother-in-law was a referee.
So, and then the MC starts explaining things. Who was the MC back then? That's not Paul, so.
No?
I don't know.
Was that for Bruggy?
It might be. I don't know. Well, let's go back to...
Where is the MC?
let me go back to start right there. So this is the start of that match. I think it might be Rebuggy.
Yeah, I
That's
think
Joe.
it's Bruggy.
No.
Oh, it's Joe.
No.
Is that Joe
That's
Johnson?
Joe Johnson.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. I need to get this footage and share it with Liz Califf, like, ASAP.
They're coming to IRI. I don't know if Joe's going to be coming, but I know their team is coming to IRI.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to make Liz bring back Fuel then.
Oh, so look at that. They got 201's got lassoed by 71's arm, and it's just nasty.
Yeah, it's hard to see. There's actually like a cord that they get stuck into on this. Yeah, this is definitely one of the most memorable events of IRI for sure. So
you can still get people to argue about this because I still believe I made the right call, and people don't like to hear that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
See, honestly, like as a student back then, like I don't even remember the game honestly for the most part and stuff. But so I'd have to like rewatch this a couple times to be like I don't even know where that. As a student, I was probably pissed because I was involved in it. But now I'm like, I don't really care anymore, right? But luckily it turned out Andy was a pretty cool dude, or is a pretty cool dude. So,
Thanks,
we mended our differences after this.
I tell you, after this happened, 45 and my relationship with 71 was a lot stronger because it made us talk. Because before that they were just the enemy. Like for 98, 99, 2000, they would just beat us at these events. Yep. And then after this event, like Daryl Noble and Bill Beatty and Brian Beatty and Amanda Morrison, all these people, I got to be friends with them, even though I made this really, their opinion, crappy call against them. And it was it was kind of strange how it made us start talking. So yeah, it was interesting.
So Andy, I want to ask you about another year right after that. I think it was 2003. It could have been 2004, where you guys had a major power outage. The power supply on the field control system, like it just blew up, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that was a year that Mark Coors, Tom Schindler came out and helped be like an FTAA, even though that wasn't a position that was official back then. But it was either 2003 or 2004. I think it was 2003 where they had what they called the coffin. The coffin was what's now called the Scorpion case. And the coffin was this big behemoth thing that during one of the matches it started smoking. So we imagined the Scorpion case smoking. That's what happened. And the power supply in there went up in smoke. So I think it was Chris Noble, who's a prominent Indiana First guy now. He's one of the FTAs. I think at his company, they had the same type of power supply at Cornerstone Controls where he worked, and so he went on a Saturday, and got one out of where he was working as a young engineer. He just pulled it out of the place, brought it into IRI, swapped it out, and off we go. It was pretty ridiculous.
One thing I wanted to ask Andy too is you talked about the how the silent auction started, but after that, I mean, you guys now donate the backpacks, and the silent auction gets donated to a couple different charities. Can you talk about like how those charities were chosen afterwards, and who they go to?
Yes, so I do want to say Chris Foltz he's been the leader of IRI, probably I think since we moved it to Indianapolis. It was Chris Foltz and Scott Ritchie were the partners on 234 that really became the lead team and the lead guys on IRI. And the backpack effort has been Cyber Blues, one of their really strong charities that they embrace, and that's been under Chris Foltz's leadership and his team leadership with 234. So the backpack effort goes toward kids at Indianapolis public schools. So the backpacks go to needy kids in families within the IPS area, and I think we've kept track of how many backpacks we've collected over the years. I don't know how many off the top of my head we have, so I'm not prepared for that. But I know we started. It's been at least 10 years we've been asking teams to bring backpacks, and the cool thing about that is, we ask each team to bring a backpack. So right, you would think you'd have 70 teams at IRI, and there'd be 70 backpacks. Well, no, there's like 70 teams coming, and there's like now 90 backpacks. So oddly enough, there's these extra 20 backpacks that show up. So maybe it's volunteers that bring backpacks. Maybe teens bring 2 backpacks. I don't know. We don't ever keep track. So we don't say, oh, there's team 111. There's a tally mark for their backpack. We don't. Backpacks just show up, and there's more backpacks than teams, and it's a cool thing. Now, with regard to the silent auction, what we've done over the years, and really, I think really it's been, I don't know, since past 10 years or 12 years, we picked 2 charities that the money from the silent auction goes toward. One charity is a charity in Indianapolis, and one charity is a group in Kokomo. And it's been food banks, it's been literacy coalitions, it's been rehabilitation centers, it's been children's hospitals, it's been all kinds of, it's been CASA, it's been lots of organizations over the years. We don't pick one charity and stay with them throughout. Sure. We tend to pick a charity and then we move to another charity the next year. And actually, kind of an odd story. I'll make this short, but I went to the Technocats end of year banquet this year, and one of the charities that they picked over the years, like 5-6 years ago, to give this money to, that charity gave money back to them this year because they thought that they were impressed by the Technocats years ago giving money to them and said, well, we did our own fundraiser and now we're giving it back to you. Wow. So that was pretty
nice.
Neat.
Pay it forward right there, or pay back around apparently. So
yeah.
What I want to get everybody's opinion. What is your favorite IRI charity auction item that you've seen before? I have mine, but I'm going to wait. I'm curious what yours, Andy or Christine, if you want to go.
I guess I guess the quilts. I think the quilts are my favorite. They started a few years ago, and they've this. If you look at the quality of the T-shirt quilts that are at the IRI auction, they're really up their quality. They usually do one every year. Chris Foltz, he solicits people to bring in T-shirts, and by a certain date, people send them in, and he gets somebody to make a really nice quilt. And I think that's a tradition that IRI started, that every year you can count on having a quilt there. I don't know if there's going to be one this year. I would assume there is.
I hope
but
so.
that's a really cool thing. And I've actually there's been a couple times I've had to be an auctioneer. People were kind of elbowing themselves at the end of the silent auction. I said, stop it, time out. Let me grab that paper. We're going to auctioneer this thing off. So, and I start asking for bids on those things. So that's happened a couple times. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because that goes for a few $100s, doesn't it? Typically.
Oh yeah, I've seen it go for $600-700.
Wow,
it's a neat thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was intrigued last year. Somebody brought in these like awesome, really simplistic, like wood sculptures of like really like legendary robots, like Chief Delphi from when was it? 2000. That one was so cool. They had 254's 2014 robot, like just really cool, like simple wood sculpt. Like you wouldn't be able to find it anywhere else. And I love that teams auction off parts of their robots, because it's like you get a piece of that robot. My first year at IRI was 2014, and that year, like, I mean, 1114 was there, 254 was there, and 118 was there, and they all had like chunks of their robot like going out to auction. So that's really cool to me. And I know Justin Montoy's got like a busted part of the Barker Redbox robot.
Yeah.
Last year, like, his students like went on a bidding war for it and got that for him.
And that's like Justin's favorite, pretty much team ever now. So it's that was pretty awesome for him.
So the little models that are made, the guy that makes those, he made one for me because he's a good friend. And it's Peyton Young. Peyton Young is a former student on 45. He was a human player in 2010 and driver in, I think, 11 and 12. And then he went on to Purdue as a student and a mentor on 461, the West Side Boiler Invasion. So he was a mentor on 461 as a student. And now he's working as a professional, as an engineer in the Lafayette area. So he continues as a mentor on 461. So you still see Peyton around. I've seen probably 30 or 40 of these. Almost everybody here in Andy Park has a nice little gift from Peyton on these old robots that maybe. So he will choose what he thinks is your team's best robot, and he'll make a robot for you. Now he gets some help, like Steve Florence helps him make those things, but it's really Peyton's drive to make those things. And he actually made like a half scale model of their robot this year that he actually drove around. So he's a crazy man. So Peyton's a great dude.
Yeah, those were really awesome. So Tyler, what's your favorite auction item?
So a couple of years ago, there was somebody 3D printed a chair set with a table. And that was seriously one of the coolest things I've ever seen, because that thing, I mean, that had to be, just the print cost of that had to be a couple $100 or something like that, right?
Easily.
Okay.
So Andy, you got a backstory to that?
Oh, I got two big stories with that.
I remember
one.
the bidding war for it, but
so that was HBA Robotics out of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and the guy that did that was Dr. Lonnie Love. So Lonnie Love helps run, it's the Manufacturing Development Lab, or I forget what it's called, but it's in Oak Ridge. They have this 3D printing awesome, like mecca of 3D additive. It's not 3D printing; it's additive manufacturing now. Right? That's what we call this stuff. So metal and plastic additive manufacturing. So he said, Andy, what can we bring to the auction? And he said, how about a table and chairs? Great, bring it. So he brought it, put it up there, and it's a table and chairs. And the funny thing about that was John Kentfield, who's the manufacturing manager here at Andy Mark, he bid on it, and he was very proud of himself for outbidding Don Bosey. So Don Bosey
who was phoning in bids,
was phoning in bids, and we were trying to get Woody and Dean to phone in bids, but Don did it. So Don was phoning in bids, and now John is outbidding Don Bosey. It was like, okay, great, John. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because this is president of First Bid Not. Let's let him have it. But John wanted it, so he got it. Now, another thing that happened, I'm sitting there talking to Lonnie Love, and I said, Lonnie, the Woody Flowers Award group, the Woody Flowers Award committee, we need a gift for Dr. Murphy every year. We had to come up with a gift for Dr. Murphy. So I said, could you make another one of these? Like, yeah, sure. So he made another one. We couldn't pay him because it's made by a national, like a federal department. He had no way. Didn't have a good way for us to pay him. So all the Woody Flowers Award winners usually pitch in money for the Dr. Murphy gift, and that year we pitched in money to donate to the local teams, the local first teams in Lonnie's area. So it was kind of a cool story with regard to that table.
And I do want to mention, Christine, that First Updates Now and Wordplay All Day, we plan on donating something this year to the charity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There?
I don't know. Did we pick anything out yet?
I'm like, I was actually thinking about that today. I'm still not sure. I know that Jay Heimlich from 3132 is going to be donating something from her new shop, Big Little Houses. So pretty pumped about that. You're going to get some Australia swag coming to IRI for the auction.
I tell you, I am open for art, like nice robotic art that could be put up here at Andy Mark, because we have this nice place and we are looking for some nice robotic themed art that I would bid on. So I'm interested.
I just realized my other favorite thing, by the way, was a stained glass that somebody does every year. Oh. It's so cool. Because you said art, it made me think about that. I'm sorry, Christine.
Thanks a lot, Tyler.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sorry, I can't do stained glass, Tyler. No, I'm kidding. No,
hey,
it was really cool.
By the way, Ultra Corgi, I will not donate my propeller hat. You do not want it. It hasn't been washed in years. So trust me, you don't want that.
What about a propeller hat that's
Maybe.
like Senpai or one single match? Like
you can wear my hat or be the guest MC or what?
Yeah. That would be a pretty good thing to auction off. Yeah, I really love like how the auction really just brings in a variety of things. Last year, watching the bidding war between multiple like Collins and then Nick Lawrence on the like busted 971 feeder tube. That was pretty cool. And just to like see that in person, like 971 wasn't there, but being able to like actually see that tube in person after seeing pictures of it and like CAD of it was pretty cool.
It's sitting on top of Nick's desk right now. It's about 50 feet away from where I'm sitting right now. It's pretty cool. Nice. Nick's pretty inspirational item. That's where all the mechanical designers, engineers sit. So it's a cool thing for them to see.
That's a really good spot for it.
So we have about 10 minutes left to go through, and there's a couple other key points I kind of want to hit on for this, kind of going through the history. One of them I want to ask you about, Andy, and hopefully we can go through this. But in 2010, I remember a pretty distinct incident happening where, and I don't know if incident's the right word, but event. So in 2010, 469 Las Gorillas. If you have not seen their robot, by the way, legendary. Robot on par with how good 71 was back in 2001, 2002, just in domination terms. And maybe you can tell his backstory a little bit better than me. But essentially, they were playing, and then somebody on the opposing alliance was sitting up on the second floor, directing the drivers which way to go based on which way the ball was going to funnel. Is that right?
Yeah. So 469 Las Gorillas had the robot that could lock down the game if they got in the right spot, and they were really hard to defend. So everybody knew they were the favorite to win world championships and IRI. So they were driving their robot from their alliance station, and their robot was right in front of them, guiding the balls into the goals. And the teams that were playing defensive against them had to drive the defensive robots from their alliance station, which is 60 feet away across the entire field. So it was kind of hard for those drivers to see how to play defense. They couldn't really see the little switch that could veer the ball one way or the other. So IRI has two big bleachers, and then there's a balcony on each end. So there's a balcony of people that are above the alliance station of each end. So there were students, I think it was students, I don't know, it was somebody that was above the balcony where 469 was driving from, and they were making hand gestures or some sort that was trying to direct the defending team across the field, trying to direct them which way they should they should play defense against 469 because the defending team couldn't see very well what was going on. They were just trying to play defense. So that year, so some years first changes the rules on this. That year, there wasn't a rule that said you couldn't coach or give guidance from the stands. I'm pretty sure there wasn't a rule that said this was illegal. So Paul Copioli, loved Paul, been friends with Paul for many years. He was the MC, and he thought that was BS, and he didn't like it happening. Now Paul was the MC. He's not the head referee. He's not the event organizer. After that match, he just says, "Okay, before this next match starts, all you guys up there in the balcony, you got to move out right now." So it's like, holy crap. Okay, first of all, there's no rule that says he can do this, but he wants the match to be played fair. I get his point, but I was like, he didn't talk to Andrew Corrington, who's the head. So it was just kind of crazy. He had a good point, but it was a pretty
rigorous speech he gave too. So
yeah, it was. So
if you know Paul, he's a pretty intense guy. So
people moved. No one told Paul he couldn't do it. So he did it, and that's what happened. And it went on, and I don't know. I think 469 won. I think they won.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 matches or something. That was a lot of replays that year. So.
Yeah, that's right. But it was quite intense. The fact that the MC is out there directing traffic with regard to the spectators.
Well, I'm glad you're okay with that. I'll keep that in mind for future competitions.
Well, okay.
And Tyler's not the MC anymore.
Speaking, I hear there's going to be a lot of different people doing MC and announcing this year. I'm kind of excited to see all the different folks who come in and jump on a mic and see what happens. And I think Colin Foltz is helping with Tyler. I think Colin and Tyler are helping manage this. I think that's true, Tyler. Does that sound right?
That's mostly Colin's the big man in charge for that stuff.
Okay.
So I just do what I'm told for that. But I believe we have a few people coming in. I think typically we've kind of like, if you want to do it, come out and kind of help out. And I think we're trying to schedule that a bit more for that because it's IRI. We want to bring you the best of the best for things. So hopefully we have some big names coming for you from all across the country, and can't wait to work with some fantastic individuals for a great event.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
That's a very political response there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is an invite to get more of those people. I think what I've heard, we've got a lot of people being MC and announcer. I don't think we need more.
No.
So we're good with that. Maybe 2019 IRI or another different event or whatever. But yeah. I'm excited too, Tyler.
2 other things I want to ask, and I'm sorry to jump in, just we're short on time. So I want to talk a little bit about Dean Simmons and the Caymans, since we have that on there. And then also as well, I think one of the most legendary things about IRI is it's not the teams and not the venue and not the people, it's the corn.
It's the food.
So
yes.
the sweet corn and the food. So Andy, can you talk a little bit about DSK and then the history? I don't know if we have enough time for that, but a little bit about that and just some of the cool things about IRI.
So in 2004, we decided to have a talent show. We had a talent show on the field during, like, on the actual field. Like Friday night, we cleared off the balls and the goals and that kind of stuff, and we had a talent show on the field. And we had the California Water Conservation Project, which was quite hilarious. We had a Joe Johnson speech. We had all kinds of stuff. And then the last act was the Dean Simmons and the Cayman brothers that consist of 5 first mentors who dressed up as cousins and relatives of Dean Cayman. And then Dean Simmons was the lead guy, so he was not related. So Dean Simmons was a play on the word Gene Simmons. And then there was Ozzie Cayman, there's Lars Cayman, there was Backslash Cayman, who wore a top hat and a backslash Cayman, and Eddie Van Cayman. And all these guys that year were mentors on teams, and they lived in different states. I remember, anyway.
Andy, I got to interrupt you here real quick for a second. Give a huge shout out to Kara Tanjak for 3,000 bits. Thank you, buddy, for all your appreciation and your support. That is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
So over the years, Dean Simmons and the Kingman Brothers have played at IRI. I about said we, but that group hasn't played. So that group hasn't played since I think 2016 or 15. So they haven't played for a few years. So maybe they'll come back in the future. They're not playing. They're not playing this year. Actually, the whole theater at Lawrence North is under construction. So we're not having anything on the theater. They're renovating the entire theater. So maybe we can help christen the new theater in 2019 with Dean Simmons and the Kingman Brothers coming back.
I heard they're coming. Some of the members have come a little bit closer, so that would be a big advantage.
Yeah, some of them are working closer together. They've I think there's some family rifts that have been healed, and I think they're getting along better these days. So that's all good. You can find YouTube videos and such with regard to Dean Simmons and the Kingman Brothers. They don't take themselves very seriously, I think, because that's their excuse of not being too professional. But it's a good time.
If you haven't seen the 2012, I don't know what you call that like the set for that, essentially, but that was absolutely amazing because it has to do with the Einstein hacking incident. A lot of it does. And
we had sabotage. We did sabotage.
That's on YouTube right now, and you have to check this out because it was absolutely epic.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're close to him, Andy, so it's easy to think you're part of it when you're really not.
Two of the guys who are close friends with members of the band, two of the guys that keep in close contact, they have started a brew pub, a nice brewery and brewing eatery up in Michigan called Supernatural. So if you're ever in Livonia, Michigan, you can see some first friends, some first mentors at Supernatural Brew Pub. I think brewery and spirits. Anyway, it's a great place. I've been there. I'm actually a club member there. I'm pretty proud of that. But check out Livonia. You can ask people about Dean Simmons and the Kingman Brothers at Livonia, Michigan. You'll get a laugh about that one. Now, go ahead, Christine. What was that?
I was going to say, maybe we could get them to do a first parody video since we all get to watch those each season. May as well get, a credible band in there.
Yeah, credible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay. So over the years, we've had a lot of fun things. We have these talent shows. I mean, we've had these amazing talent shows. It's pretty crazy, from mentors doing crazy things to students doing wonderful things, and it's pretty cool. But one year we decided to bring so there's a lot of farms in Indiana, right? So there's corn, there's pigs. So one year we brought a pig to IRI. We had a fundraiser that was called the Kiss the Pig fundraiser. And we had all these buckets, and whoever got the most money in their bucket, they had to kiss the pig. And so that ended up being Paul Copioli. And the guy that had the least amount of money in his bucket had to hold the pig, and Paul kissed the pig. And Aiden Brown was the guy that had to hold the pig.
Oh, man.
And I realized shortly before Aiden grabbed the pig that I'm not letting go of this pig. So I brought the pig to the thing. It's actually my stepdad. It was my stepdad's pig because he had the farm. And so I kept hold of the back leg because it would have been funny for about 5 minutes when Aiden would have let the pig go, because I had a hunch that he was going to let the pig go. But after about a half an hour, probably would have gotten pretty old that we're chasing around this pig all around the school. So that didn't happen. But Paul kissed the pig. That was pretty funny. And then about 5-6 years ago, we started Lawrence North. They run all the food and concessions at the event. That's the fundraiser for 1024. They do an excellent job. And one of their mentors, one of their supporters, they grill and serve buttered corn on the cob. So this is sweet corn on the cob you can get at IRI. And I never forget. I think it was a kid from 148. Was it a kid from 148 during Alliance selection?
Oh no, that was one of my students on 125.
Oh, what? Okay, so what did he say? I forgot what he said. It was during Alliance.
He went out. He wouldn't tell us ahead of time like what he wanted to say, but he was like, "I know how I'm going to accept if we get chosen." It's like, oh god. And this was like the biggest jokester on our team, and he at the amount of corn that kid ate was somewhat concerning. Like besides corn, I think the only other thing he had was like chips. But he said, we came here to do two things, like win matches and eat corn. And then he like took out a corn on the cob that he had finished. He was like, and we're all out of corn. And that That was the acceptance. I
That
think
was
there's
pretty
like
good.
a GIF of it somewhere, but yeah.
And on Friday night, we have a dinner for everybody. So people who come, who are volunteers, and who come with the teams. We Chris Foltz and all the 234 parent, the Cyber Blue parent crew, they put on this wonderful dinner. And I think lately it's been catered. And so there's a caterer that comes in, and then the host team 234, they just serve us all great food. It's fantastic. So I always call IRI the social event of the summer for FIRST, for FRC, and I think that Friday night is really a cool thing that mentors and students get together and really enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, so I think we're ready to start our giveaway. Like, we've had a ton of really good conversation here. So before we wrap up the show completely, remember, if you haven't already done it and you're a subscriber, make sure you type in the word Andy Mark. And don't forget, if you're a sub, you get 5 times the chance to win giveaways, and you must follow the channel to enter. So good luck to everybody. And Tyler, are you ready to choose our winner, perhaps, or should we take a...
Why don't we go through that? We had a couple questions from chat, so why don't we go through that, and then we'll draw for the winner.
Perfect. So we have a question for you, Andy, from CDF Man. How many new teams are going to IRI this year? That's a tricky question.
So I'm on the selection committee. I should know this, but I've been quite distracted since we had that selection. Is it one? I don't know if we have one team that's a rookie. It's either one or none that's a rookie this year.
There is one rookie for sure.
Okay, so is that the question? A new team would be a rookie team,
I think they're saying teams
IRI?
New to IRI.
Yeah.
Oh, that's harder.
Yeah, that might be a little more difficult to answer.
I would say I would guess probably 15. Just to guess. I don't know that answer. I'm sorry.
That is okay. All right, so we have another question from Evan S2410, and he wants to know when Power Cubes will finally be back in stock.
I don't think they're coming back. But speaking of game pieces, have I got a deal for you with
Oh man.
So
the best deal ever.
The tops of those Raptors over there, you might be able to see. Let's see if way over there are 70,000 pieces of fuel.
I feel like there's got to be like a PE department somewhere that could really use a good deal on, like, you know, softball sized wiffle balls, or like maybe a dog rescue league or something that could use some dog toys. So
there's a guy in town that runs a community center, and he had a pickleball field in his gym, and the pickleball looks just like a piece of fuel from Sportigo, or the Sportigo ball, but it's slightly smaller. So I said, dude, here are 2 cases of this thing. Let me know if they work for pickleball. And he says, no, they're too big, they're too heavy.
Just go start a new game.
So we are giving them away. We have given them away to like especially child care centers and elementary schools. We've given a lot of away, and we'll probably do another couple rounds of that. And if anybody has any use for these balls, and if you especially if you want to come pick them up, and I'm serious, send me an email. Send somebody an email here at Andy Mark. You know how to get a hold of us. Send me an email and let us know what you want. But we're probably not going to pay to ship them to you unless you pay us. So if you're coming to IRI and you have space in your trailer or whatever, and you want some fuel for your way home, let's talk. We can make a deal. We're getting close to the point where we're going to might grind them up and recycle them, and I don't really want to do that. But there is some worth in plastic, just the raw material. But I don't want to do that.
No.
That'd be kind of sad.
So basically, if you're going to IRI, make Andy happy, take some fuel home.
Yeah, we'll have some at IRI.
Mm-hmm. All right, and our last question tonight is from PJ, who is one of our contributors on Fun, and he wants to know, when did you first realize that IRI was the premier off-season, and what was your reaction to it?
Well, okay, so first of all, it is a premier off-season event. It's a premier summer event. But I'll tell you, there's other events that do some things better than IRI does. I have not been to all the off-season events. I need to go to some more. But there's some events that put a lot more production value into their event than IRI does. For instance, a Battle Cry, they focus a lot on the production and the show And I think that is a premier event also. Chessie Champs is a premier event. Cowtown Throwdown is pretty darn premier. That's an awesome event. There's a lot of other Texas Robot Invitation. Anyway, so yeah, it was pretty cool to be able to create something from nothing and have people really make it a goal for their season or their team to be able to come to IRI. I think probably it was 2005, 2006, 2007, that time frame when we started really having to worry about the Indiana teams some of them being eligible to come to IRI. So I think we might have started the cage match, not we, people down in Indianapolis started the cage match in 2008, I think, if I'm right. And we really wanted them to do that, support them to do that, because we felt really bad about starting to limit any team that wanted to come to IRI. We had to limit it in 2007 to 2008. So that was pretty humbling. And speaking of all that, I did hear when I was down in Monterrey, Mexico this year, I got to visit with a lot of Mexican teams, and there's some fantastic Mexican FRC teams. And there's one team that it's pretty darn humbling. Their lead mentor, I believe this is to be true, but their lead mentor, it's their team's goal to come to IRI. If they're good enough to be able to qualify and be invited to IRI, that's one of their team goals, and that's the Lambots out of I don't know what city they're from, but the Lambots. They're
Monterey, I think.
Are they from Monterey?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, they're coming
Great
this
team,
year.
though.
So
Yeah.
they've been coming the last couple of years, and they're one of the best teams in Mexico, and they're very strong. They had an Einstein quality robot this year. They had a double lifter, really good robot, really good drivers. They know what the heck they're doing, and they'll be at IRI. You'll check them out.
San Luis Potosi looks like.
I don't know where that is.
I don't know either.
Their lead mentor, his name is Sergio, and he's a Woody Flowers Award winner, and he believes. And I'll have to fact check this when they come to Indy this summer, but it's rumored to say that that's one of their goals or maybe their top goal is to come to IRI every year.
One of our hosts is Lino Corley, and I think he's in agreement with that as well. So
yeah, I think I might have got that from Lino. I don't know, but hey, Lino.
Well, I mean, yep. So we got to wrap it up tonight. But Tyler, can you give us our winner?
Yeah, let's go ahead and draw for Yeah, absolutely. Once again, you get your choice of Andy Mark t-shirt that we had up on the screen earlier. So if you do win, just let us know. You got to let us know what size you are, too, so we can ship that t-shirt, so Andy Mark can ship that t-shirt. And thank you to Andy Mark for donating that. And the winner for tonight is going to be Conmaster 1018. Congratulations. For winning. He's a subscriber, so thank you once again for subscribing, for getting those extra times luck. And if you are a subscriber, make sure you put rigged emotes in chat, because clearly we rigged the drawing for this person. But congratulations. Yep,
I was going to say, cue the rigged emotes. It's my favorite part. All right, so
1018. That's in his. Maybe he's a Robo Devil out of Pike. That's 1018. FRC 1018.
Perhaps.
Probably.
Maybe.
Oh, that's like the one shirt I really want, because they have awesome like gold metallic like.
I have one. You got to reach out to Lenny. He'll take care of you.
I want that. All right. Well, tonight's show was really awesome. Thank you so much, Andy, for being on. We really appreciate it. It was super, super awesome to hear so much really like awesome information about IRI that I'm sure none of us really knew about. So thank you for having us. And can you show us your drawing before we wrap up tonight?
I'm not quite finished with it, but here it is. Let's see.
That's pretty good.
I got part of the. Yeah, it's a part. Can you give me partial credit, Christine?
Yes.
Is that maybe just not a check plus, but just a check? Maybe.
A for effort, though.
Oh well, hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, so huge thank you to Andy for coming on. Like I said, if you want more First Robotics in your life and you like what we do here on First Updates Now, we'd be absolutely delighted to have you click that follow or even subscribe button to help support First Updates Now and get some awesome benefits. If you have an Amazon Prime account, don't forget that you can subscribe to Fun for free. It's just a few bucks a month. So Tyler, can you let us know who helped support this show this evening?
Yep. As we wrap up here, I want to give a big shout out to CDF Man for a Tier 1 sub, Atheno TV, for the host earlier today, by the way. Matt1511 for your Prime sub. Indy Sam for your Prime sub. RT Strangle for your Tier 1 sub. McLast for your Tier 1 sub. Will4944, 4 months of support. Gray Phantom Delta, 9 months of support. Thank you, Evan, for your bits. Gray Phantom Delta for your bits as well. Meredith Novak, continue to sub once again with your Tier 1. Thank you, Meredith. Conmaster 1018, hey, you subscribed with Prime, and you get the win. Not a bad deal. Also for your 100 bits, Conmaster, or 400 bits total, Conmaster. Brando for a few bits, and your Tier 1 sub for 10 months, Brando. Appreciate it, buddy. MW McLean with your Tier 1 sub. KR Tanjack, we said he before, but 3,000 bits. Holy crap. Ooh. Thank you so much for that and your support. Brennan4476 for your Tier 1 sub, and Thino for a few bits as well. Thank you, everybody. It's a big night for us, and we appreciate all of your support to continue making shows like this happen. We want to keep making more for the summer for you, and we appreciate your support.
Awesome. So just a reminder, like Tyler said, we're going to have shows during the summer. But on behalf of myself and our producer, Tyler, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, especially our special guest, Andy, for dropping in. And thank you to all of our moderators. And we'll see you next time on First Updates Now. Talk to you then.